and there's one huge CEO attending, and this guy's a genius. I mean, I can't say enough good things about him. I'm super excited to see what he does with this conference tomorrow. And that CEO is dun, 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 dun. Dingoos, I hope you're having a wonderful morning. Very exciting video for you today. We are going to be discussing Polkadot and parachain tokens, because as everything is booming, DeFi is booming, Ethereum is pumping, Bitcoin's not pumping, but Polkadot and Polkadot parachain tokens are also consolidating. So that provides an opportunity, and today we will explore that opportunity, as well as we'll talk about Bitcoin, its fundamental adoption that is happening everywhere, as well as Michael Saylor. There, he's having a corporate event with a lot of CEOs and from a lot of different companies, and there's one very important CEO I want to point out to you today. Big moves, and then at the end I have some perspective, because I know you guys like some perspective in your morning tea. So we'll give you some perspective, but let's just jump right in to some Jeff Bezos news. He stepped down from as Amazon's CEO today, and personally, I admire him. I admire him greatly as an aspiring entrepreneur. He is, I mean, he's the golden image of a successful entrepreneur. As we look at this picture, I mean, he started with a spray painted placard on his wall, Amazon.com, selling books. He was a bookstore, online bookstore, expanded, focused on supply chains. Absolutely amazing. From that to one of the biggest companies in the world. Success story, to say the least. I admire him. I know a lot of people despise and are envious of billionaires, but hey, what are you going to do? I definitely admire him, and if you despise and if you're envious of somebody because they are wealthy, that just definitely takes away from your chances to become wealthy yourself. So if you despise somebody like that, it's very unlikely that you will become somebody like him or become very wealthy. So I mean, hey, that's just a little more perspective for this morning, right? But let's jump right into Ethereum's price action, because we are at all-time highs, which is very exciting. But we'll see what happens. I personally was very unimpressed with this push this morning. I mean, we did go to 1550 and we currently are 1528, but it wasn't a very substantial move. I thought we would be something like this move back here, but it was not substantial. I could definitely see us falling back in and consolidating in a similar way as we did when we broke 400 and pumped to 475 and then broke back down to 350 and then consolidated for a long time until early November, from early September to early November, right? So a very long time, and we could see something similar to that, or we could just say fuck it and just pump. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know the future. I was thinking that February would be a very good month for Ethereum, but that breakout was not substantial. But maybe we'll see some substantial volume here shortly. We will see. Only time will tell, guys. I can't predict the future, even though sometimes I try to, right? I can't do it. But now let's look at Polkadot, because as everything else is kind of pumping, Polkadot and Polkadot parachains have not been in particularly. And as you can see, consolidation, very nice. You can earn 15% staking rewards on your Polkadot right now, and I'll show you how to do that shortly. I like Polkadot a lot. I mean, it's an awesome protocol. So Kusama is having their parachain auction later or early next month, which is exciting, as well as Polkadot is having their auction this summer. It was originally supposed to be Q1 of this year, but it got delayed apparently, and this is all rumors, by the way. This is all rumors, and right now the only really good blockchains out there is Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then I would say Polkadot is the next potential, because it supplies a different use case than Ethereum, and then XDAI would be my fourth, and then that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, unfortunately, I don't even consider Cardano in that, because until they produce something real, I mean, they're just academic papers to me. See, unlike Cardano, let's look at all the aspiring parachains, right? This is not even half of these aspiring parachains. And Polkadot, you can stake Polkadot, Kusama, Centrifuge, Darwinian, ChainX, or Centrifuge, Darwinian, Edgeware, and then look at all these. I mean, there's a ton of them. These are all trying to be parachains, right? So I have a whole video on Polkadot explaining it in depth if you want to go check that out, but that's not what this video is for. I'll put polkadot.js in the description so you can check these out, as well as there's a lot of other Polkadot parachain tokens that you might want to look into. Great stuff happening with that, a lot of potential, and these will pump once the auctions go live. End of story. Definitely will happen as long as the crypto market is overall bullish. These will definitely pump. So keep that in mind, as well as you can earn staking rewards right now. So take advantage of time value and wait for that pump. That's what I'm doing. I have a lot of ChainX, a lot of Kusama, a lot of Edgeware, and Plasm, but Plasm you can't stake. Anyways, let's move on to some Bitcoin news, because the city of Miami is now considering giving its employees the opportunity to get paid in Bitcoin, and I see this as a fad to come 100%. I mean, Russ, the football player, just got half his Bitcoin, half his paycheck paid in Bitcoin, and this is such an obvious trend and fad to come. I mean, Jack Dorsey said smart, so I would not be surprised if he gave his employees the option to take Bitcoin instead of US dollars for payment. Michael Saylor could do the same thing. Every entrepreneur that is a big Bitcoin head, right, loves Bitcoin, will give their employees the option, and that's just going to be a fad, guys, for sure. And I mean, it's definitely going to be that. Tomorrow is PayPal's first earnings report with Bitcoin sales included. So who's going to be watching this earnings report, and who's going to be looking at this earnings report? Google Pay and Apple Pay. Square was the first mover. PayPal was looking at Square and saying, holy shit, they're making a lot of money by offering crypto products. I gotta get this. I gotta do the same thing. So PayPal just did the same thing, and now Google and Apple will eventually have crypto products to offer their users. Going to happen 100%. Also, would be nice for them to introduce crypto wallets natively to their phones. That would be nice. We will see, but it's so obvious that it's coming, guys. They're going to have a great earnings report. PayPal will with Bitcoin products for sure, just like Square is. So let's move on to some Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy news. So MicroStrategy has purchased another 295 Bitcoin worth approximately $10 million in cash, or $10 million. So an average price of almost $34,000 per Bitcoin. So he thinks this is a dip, guys. He does not think we're in a long-term downtrend, and I also believe that. So as you can see, he thinks we will go up, and I tend to believe him. He's holding a conference tomorrow and the next day with 1,400 firms talking about how to put Bitcoin on your balance sheet and how to successfully accumulate Bitcoin. And there's one huge CEO attending, and this guy's a genius. I mean, I can't say enough good things about him. I'm super excited to see what he does with this conference tomorrow. And that CEO is me. Yeah, guys, I registered for it a while ago. One of my crypto news episode, I saw this corporate event. I was like, I'm going to sneak into it. I ended up registering. I did not know it was online, but apparently it is. So I have access to the event tomorrow. I'm going to be attending. I made my little profile. I made my little video with my dingle hat on. And look at that. Josh Hudson, CEO, ice cream cone. Dingooo ice cream cone, guys. I'm ready. I'm going to meet some big wigs, and I'm going to report back tomorrow night. So make sure you watch tomorrow night. I'm going to report back. Maybe I'll meet some important figures that can help me in my life a little bit. I mean, maybe I help them. Who knows? Because now I'm a bigwig, guys. I got 1,300 subscribers, guys. I'm walking around with broad shoulders, guys. I'm just gonna have fun. You know, one thing I think for sure in life is it's better to do something and to act on something than ask for permission or ask for forgiveness following it, rather than asking for permission and then taking action. Because if you ask for permission first, the opportunity will usually disappear by the time you get permission to pursue that opportunity, right? So pursue the opportunity, as long as the consequences are a fine, a small fine, social awkwardness, and yeah, I mean, it's better just to act and take the consequences later, or ask for forgiveness later on. And that's what I'm doing here. You know what? If I get kicked out, I get kicked out, but I'm just going to have some fun tomorrow and see what happens. Worst thing that can happen is I get kicked out and they say no. You know, that's the worst thing that can happen. Who cares? CEOs and CFOs, if your company has not adopted a Bitcoin standard, you are missing out on the greatest transfer of wealth in human history. I tend to agree. Look at the MicroStrategy stock chart. You know who else is looking at these charts? CEOs of other companies saying, oh, if I can add Bitcoin to my balance sheet and see similar returns to my stock price. Insane. I mean, corporate game theory plays a part in this as well. As you can see what happened right here. When Bitcoin hit all-time highs, we retraced in price, but now MicroStrategy stock has surpassed all-time highs. Here's a thing. What if Bitcoin starts following MicroStrategy? What if MicroStrategy stock price is the first mover to Bitcoin's price action? Interesting, because I found that breakout pretty interesting. It's been pretty correlated with Bitcoin all along, and then all of a sudden it breaks out like that. That's kind of strange, huh? But anyways, let's go ahead and Grayscale adds another 25,000 Ethereum, worth about 37 million. Total under management is 4.5 billion, guys. So fundamentally, Ethereum is very strong. People are still accumulating. Institutions are accumulating. I mean, once Bitcoin becomes a very substantial market cap, and it's already pretty substantial, I mean, Ethereum will be the next institutional product available. It's already a commodity, so institutions will have a lot of possibility and financial products to play with that have exposure to Ethereum. So keep an eye on that. And also, one thing that's coming is Uniswap V3 is very exciting, because cheap transactions will be available on Uniswap V3, whether that's using Optimism as a layer 2 solution or XDAI's blockchain, right? If they use XDAI, if they decide to use XDAI as a scaling solution, XDAI will moon and moon. So that might be a play. Also, what might be a play is putting a small amount in sub 10 mil market caps, because if cheap transactions are available on Uniswap, you can bet that small market caps that are not listed on many exchanges except Uniswap will moon. So look out for those. Maybe get in our Telegram chat and explore some ideas with the community, guys. Do some research on small caps, sub 10 mil caps, and maybe throw some not financial advice, but I'm personally going to throw some money at very small cap tokens. So lastly, one of my favorite Chinese proverbs is, may you live in interesting times. And that sounds like a blessing, right? That sounds like, hey, may you live in interesting times. Sounds like a good thing. But it's actually a curse, because if we look throughout history, and what do we learn in history books? We learn about the interesting times. And what do the interesting times entail? Death, suffering, horrific incidents. Just death, right? Interesting in terms of us looking back on history. History is always death. Is always the most horrific time periods, right? Throughout history. So let's look at what interesting times do to men's faces. This is World War II. Let's look at these men's face and wonder and just visualize what interesting things they have seen.
I looked at you and said, oh.
what do you think he has seen? Very interesting things. Some interesting things that I would personally never want to see. I'm grateful that I personally never had to fight these battles, even though, I mean, depending on the circumstance, I definitely would be willing. But I want to say one thing before we go, and that is, if you has had relatives fight in a war and have war stories, I would really appreciate you sharing in the comments, because my grandfather was a B-52 bomber pilot, and he flew over Italy, flew many missions. One time his aircraft was so shot up, he had to land and throw parachutes out the windows, the side windows, for the airplane to stop, right? So that's just one cool story, and I love history. And yeah, go ahead and shoot your relative historic war stories in the comments. I would love to read them, and I'll definitely get back to you if you do, and I appreciate each and every one of you. That is all for you today, and if you like and find value in this content, like and subscribe. It means a lot. We have been growing exponentially. Awesome to see. I love each and every one of you. If you want to chit chat, we have a Discord and a Telegram. Telegram's a little more active, so join that if you want to discuss. Also, personal and Dingooo Twitter are in the bio. Go follow those and keep up to date with the latest crypto news. That is all for today, Dingoos. I appreciate each and every one of you, and peace out, Dingoos, and dingle dingle. Peace.